Cirque Du Freak, A Living Nightmare is a 2000 dark fantasy novel by Darren Shan. It follows Darren Shan, a young enthusiast of spiders, who attends a forbidden freak show with his friend Steve Leonard, and encounters a vampire capable of controlling his pet spider with his mind. Intrigued, Darren and Steve decide to steal the spider, only to discover that commanding it is far more difficult than they imagined. The novel was later adapted into a 2009 Hollywood film. The story is narrated by Darren, who reveals his lifelong fascination with spiders. As a child, he would collect them from the garden and set them loose in his home, much to his mother's dismay. Despite protests, she acknowledged his passion and gifted him a tarantula for his 9th birthday. This devotion ended abruptly after watching a cartoon featuring a malevolent spider. In a moment of twisted curiosity, he killed his tarantula with a vacuum cleaner. Darren recalls this as the moment he realized that, unlike cartoons, some aspects of life are irreparably cruel. Darren's best friend, Steve, shared an interest in the supernatural, though he was drawn to horror comics, particularly stories about vampires and the Wolfman. The boys, along with their friend Alan, encounter an advertisement for a freak show called the Cirque Du Freak. Darren and Steve are immediately captivated, as is their friend Tommy. The ad offers only 2 tickets, sparking a competition among them for the chance to attend with Steve. When it comes to drawing straws, Darren is guided by a mysterious voice in his head, ultimately winning the opportunity. At the freak show, Darren and Steve are mesmerized, especially by an act performed by the enigmatic Mr. Crepsley, who owns a giant spider named Madame Octa. During the performance, Mr. Crepsley releases Madame Octa from her cage and uses his mind enhanced by a flute to control her. He warns that a single bite from her is lethal to humans. Darren immediately plots to steal Madame Octa, using his knowledge of Mr. Crepsley's secret identity as a vampire to keep the plan concealed. The theft succeeds without incident. Darren spends weeks training Madame Octa, eventually becoming comfortable with her presence in his bedroom. To avoid suspicion, he claims to his parents that he is simply practicing a new hobby, the flute. As his obsession with the spider grows, he begins to distance himself from Steve. Meanwhile, Mr. Crepsley refuses Steve's request to become his assistant, citing bad blood. Despite Darren's betrayal, Steve attempts to maintain their friendship. Tragedy strikes when Steve visits Darren, and Darren's younger sister Annie accidentally startles him, causing him to lose control of the flute. Madame Octa bites Steve, injecting her deadly venom. Steve realizes that his only chance for survival is for Darren to strike a deal with Mr. Crepsley, agreeing to work for him in exchange for an antidote. While Steve survives, Darren is transformed into a half-vampire. Mr. Crepsley stages Darren's death, intending to sever his ties to his previous life and deceive everyone, including Steve. At Darren's funeral, Steve notices scars on Darren's fingers, revealing the truth of his transformation. After the service, Mr. Crepsley retrieves Darren's body from its grave. Enraged at being replaced as Mr. Crepsley's assistant, Steve attempts to exact revenge, cutting a cross-shaped scar into his hand as a permanent symbol of his perceived betrayal by both Darren and Mr. Crepsley. The conclusion of Cirque Du Freak reflects its eerie tone. Unresolved tensions persist between its characters, and the story emphasizes the chilling influence of the supernatural on friendships, family bonds, and the turbulence of adolescence. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.